Can you hear me? 30 seconds in, Sloan. Well, 30 seconds before we go live, Sloan started crying. Oh my God. It's all good. We here.
We live? We live?
Can you hear me? Yeah, it says live.
Oh, yes. Okay, okay. You know, when we're dealing with this different technology, this new technology that we're not privy to, we don't know. But anyway, hey, everybody. I'm Erin Renee. And we are with, the one half of, okay, there we go.
Yeah,
There we
two
go.
halves. Make a hole.
Hi.
Make a circle.
I am just excited. I'm excited. You guys always see my post and hear me talk about this amazing couple. And they don't know this, but I share a lot sometimes in my Straight Talk No Chaser group as well, because not only are they business owners, but they are a married couple who has an amazing story. And so I love to share their love and their pictures and things that they're doing in our group as well. So if they look familiar to you, that is why. But definitely want to welcome Alan Simone, Jonesing for Success. I'm going to talk a little bit about them. I'm just excited because this month is Black Business Month. And for those of you guys who are not aware, this is Black Business Month and we are celebrating Black businesses. I see companies all across the US that are celebrating Black businesses. I saw Chase celebrating and things like that. So this is actually a month dedicated to Black businesses. So if you have a Black business, if you're Black and you own a business, it is time to celebrate. I mean, we want to celebrate businesses every single day, but this month is a special month dedicated just for Black businesses. And so we are celebrating Alan Simone. And I'm just going to read a little bit of their bio just so you can get an idea of who we're speaking with today.
Here we go.
Alan Simone, the franchise wonders, entrepreneur maestros. Alan Simone, the visionaries behind Teague Jones LLC, turned Great American Cookie marble slab franchises into a sensation. Scaling to 4 locations in 5 years, they crafted a thriving empire, employing over 80 with a dazzling 10 million in revenue. Recognized as Franchisee of the Year by Global Franchise Group in 2019, their journey is a whirlwind of innovation and dedication. So buckle up for an exciting ride, an inspiring ride with this dynamic duo. Welcome, Alan Simone.
Hello.
It sounds a little weird.
It does hearing it play out.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sure it does, but that's your story. And it's not a facade. It's not fake. This is what you guys do. This is who you guys are. And I'm excited. So many times we hear about people who own franchises and who do this and who do that. But we never get a chance to actually sit down and talk and find out the why, the how, the what, the when, all of that good stuff. I've been blessed to connect with a franchise owner out of Seattle who just opened up his 18th restaurant in Seattle. And I definitely can't wait till you guys meet him because I want you guys to connect. I think he is amazing. He owns Ezel's Chicken. It's a chicken chain out in Washington State. And so he's the only person I know who has, done that, taken a franchise and expanded it. And then I meet you guys and it's like, wow, it can be done. And so, I just want to talk a little bit, and we won't belabor the time. I want to talk a little bit about how you guys got started, and then I have some questions that I'll ask, after that. But just let's talk Alan Simone. How did you get started in franchising? Because a lot of times people, they might buy one, a restaurant and run the restaurant, and then a lot of times you see those restaurants fold or don't last and things like that. And we saw a lot of that, especially during COVID, that restaurants, got shut down, or stores or things like that, brick and mortar, a lot of brick and mortar businesses. But how did you get from, getting a franchise and then not just owning one, but 4? Let's talk about that.
So, I mean, we've always been entrepreneurial, had entrepreneurial aspirations. So we talked about this stuff on a regular basis, and we literally tried to get into several different franchises before this one fell in our lap. Fortunately for us, Simone has a sweet tooth. So they were opening a Great American Cookie close by our neighborhood, and she was passing by it every day. And so she decided to call, and I'll let her continue with that story.
Well, there was actually a food place, a healthy food place that no longer is in business now. But I was calling and blowing them up because I love Great American Cookie. I grew up with the product. So once the store actually opened up, this was back in 2016. And like he said, we had been looking to get into something. We knew we wanted to do franchising because it should be hopefully a proven business model.
Correct.
So, once they opened and went in there, and there was a young guy behind the counter, and I assumed he was the owner with his black shirt. And so Al was sitting outside looking at the line. I was in there seeing a young person, seeing the line. And then we got in the car, and it was like an aha moment. We felt this was the right thing for us to look into.
Yes. And so when, she came out, she was like, hey, it's a young guy in there. He's running. I think he's the owner. I was like, well, I'm looking on their website. It's looking like something that we can qualify for.
Yeah.
So that next Wednesday, we reached out to Great American Cookie, which is GFG,
at the time,
where we wanted the franchisees of the year. And they called back, and they called Simone that same day, and she had a conversation with him, and I would explain that also. Because, I wasn't on the phone. I heard it. I was in the background like, oh, baby.
So the consultant at the time, she no longer works for the company, but she did call us the same day. And so she was asking us information. And one of the things she indicated is that we were only exclusively going to be in the Houston area. We only look there. And like, of course, we were only going to look because we live here. Mm-hmm. And she was like, unfortunately, there's really no locations here. So we were like, well, thank you for your time. But if anything comes available in the future, please let us know. So then if you're from Houston, you know how to say the word here that we all know, which is Kirkendall, right? And most people outside of here can't say it. So she's like, well, wait a minute, there's a location on Kike. I was like, we'll take it, because literally it happens to be right in our backyard, 5 minutes away from our house.
Literally. And so it was a whirlwind. About a month, we were signing the agreement to open the store, one store right here on Kirkendall. And so within that process, they send you your franchise disclosure agreements. They send you the contracts. And, you have to go through it. You also had to have our lawyer go through it. So that's why the process took about a month. It's about literally 300 pages of stuff. And, don't get me wrong, we're very educated and very smart, but our lawyer had to break it down to us. So,
and it's something that can't be changed.
Right.
You just want to know exactly what you're signing up for.
Yeah. So we signed a 10-year agreement on the first store. And right after that, we befriended the guy that we went into his store right over here off of Spring Stubner. And, let him know that we're coming into the franchise. And, he helped us out. He was sort of like our mentor.
He was.
So that's another thing, I think, as an entrepreneur, whether you're in a franchise or even on your own, it's people that have been there before. So you definitely got to make sure you try to find your mentor or somebody who can help you, not take all the bumps and bruises that they did. So, and that's why we're here doing this also. And so after that, I'm telling Simone, like, hey, we need to find more locations.
Okay, we're going to go to our personality. So Al is like the Mr. Go, go, go. I'm always like, yeah. So he was like, well, we should get more locations. I'm like, hold up. We haven't even opened up one. Let us open up one, and then we can figure out this is for us or not for us and so forth. So
the ink wasn't even dry on the contract.
Other people are going to be looking into it. I'm like, wait a minute now. I don't even know what I'm doing. We don't know what we're doing. Let's just see. But you know what? We did pray about it. One thing about us, we pray about everything that we do.
Correct.
And we inquired about a location that we thought would have been a great location, would ultimately end up being our second location. Corporate told us it may be infringed on a mall location, but back then they had someone come out who was over construction.
Correct.
He verified that it wouldn't infringe on them in any type of way. So, we put in the request, and about 3 months later, she came back and told us that we had it, the same lady initially, but she said in order to get it, we had to basically take on 2 more locations. Yeah. So we were like, what in the? I was like, yeah, I'm ready. I was just like, oh my God.
So we went from 1 to 4
before we opened up one.
Without even having.
Before you opened up one, that's crazy.
Yes.
So when people think about like franchises, they're like, okay, can I open one up? What is it? Do you have to do credit checks? Do you have to have large amounts of money? Do you have to, what is it? And we don't want to dive into your personal business and banks and bank accounts and stuff like that. However, for the average person who says, you know what, I think I want to try something like this. I want to open up a franchise. I want to open up a Baskin and Robbins or a Great American Cookie or a Subway or whatever. What does it take to actually do that? I mean, is it like buying a house, or is it, you know, how
every franchise is different, right? So with our particular one, you had to pay the franchise fee, which at the time they were offering a discount, and it was $35,000 at the time per location.
It was
we got a discount.
It was $20,000 per
store at the time. So you get offered, you pay a franchise fee, and that buys you into it. But however, there's still additional costs you are going to have to pay. So you're going to have to pay for the build out of the location, which is construction. You're going to have to pay for the product. You're going to have to pay for the equipment. So every franchise will give you a range of how much that you're going to pay. So it's very important that you pay attention to those numbers. And most of the time it's actually more than that. So
but even before you get to that part, they want to see how much money you got.
True.
What's your net worth?
True.
Is it liquid? Is it cash?
True.
And
they require a certain amount.
So it depends on what franchise. You got some that, you know, don't require you to have much money at all. And you got some that requires you to have millions of dollars.
It just depends.
So, and one thing that we have been seeing in the franchise industry as of late is they really don't want nobody to open one store. They want you to open multiple units.
They want you locked in.
Yeah. So if you come with, hey, I want to open one store, more than likely, if it's a larger franchise and they're trying to expand, they're going to say, hey, I need you to open 4 or 5. And you know, obviously you probably don't even have the, the resources to do so.
It's expensive. So, like to sit here and say it's not expensive.
No, and that's good to know. And they're going to find out more when they tune into your podcast when it comes.
Correct.
So they will find out the step-by-steps. We will go through all of that. But I just wanted to give our audience just a snippet of what it takes, because sometimes, we don't know. I've never purchased a building, a business, or anything like that, especially a franchise. And so I've inquired, I've talked to my friend in Seattle, and I'm like, you need to have an Ezell's down here. And he's probably thinking, Erin, you don't know what it takes.
Yeah, it takes a lot now.
You have no idea. But I'm like, and when I mentioned it, he didn't even say anything. So he's probably like, that girl, she don't know. But
fortunately, that's why we're doing this podcast. We have a lot of knowledge to give. And we've been hoarding it to ourselves. And then when we come across people and they ask us questions, I mean, we're literally an open book. And so now, it's been put on us. Actually been put on me. I prayed about it for years. I really didn't want to do it. And so now we're really coming to the forefront and trying to help people.
And we haven't hoarded it. Any franchise that's ever come to us, in fact, corporate used to send new potential franchisees and get them in contact with us, just so they can give us to give them an idea of what to expect. So we haven't been hoarding it, but we want to be able to give the information out and to be more accessible, not just for people inquiring, but people that maybe potentially were considering it, but just didn't know where to get that information from.
And people that didn't even know how to, where even to start. So,
right. And that's why I love the fact that you guys are having this podcast, because, a lot of times people don't even really understand that franchise owner, there's only 1% of Black franchise owners in the nation. I don't know if it's in the world or in the nation, but I'm assuming only 1% are Black, are African American. And so that's one of the things why we just want to celebrate you in August and in 2024 and moving forward, because you guys have broken the mold. You guys are a part of that, and we want to expand. We want to be able to have other African Americans come in and own. And I've met, and I just recently, not too long ago, met somebody who owned McDonald's franchise, and then I met somebody, but it's just very few and far between, right? And so for you guys to be the 1%, how do you feel about that? And how do you think that we can expand that?
I think it's an honor, honestly. Like at the end of the day, irregardless, to have representation in any field is amazing. So to be a part of that is just, something that you hope for the next generation. And we have a daughter. We want her, hopefully, if that's the route she wants to go, to be an entrepreneur, but to have a model that she can hopefully strive to be like. So, I mean, all I can say is it just feels like an honor to be able to be a part of that category.
No, I definitely agree.
And then one of the things that we're doing to make sure that we, include and learn is that we have a group called Jonesing for Success that's on Facebook. Not to mention that you have your Facebook page and your Instagram page, but there's a franchise group that we've all created, that you all have created, that can then include all the franchisees that are out there, and then also those that may be interested in learning more about how to purchase a franchise and things like that. So I just think that we're just excited about that and excited about that getting going, because again, this is just, I'm sorry.
No, we definitely want to build a community.
Absolutely.
And join resources and exchange ideas and, exchange the knowledge with other people who's in it and, people who want to get in it. So that's really where we're trying to go with it.
And so let's kind of switch gears really quick and talk about how is it owning a business with your significant other. A lot of times I hear things that I can't work with my husband or my wife, or I like my me time and this and that.
Yeah.
But how is it owning a business and actually being a power couple? Because that's what I desire for my boyfriend and I when we get married, to be that power couple.
Oh,
and you guys are considered this power couple. So how is it working with each other?
I would say at first it was difficult. It was hard because I always give you the example. When you go work for somebody else, you come home and you vent to your spouse about what makes you angry. It is very hard to come home and vent to your spouse because they pissing you off, right? And it's the work-life balance. For us, initially, it was a little off. It was learning our roles because we've never worked together for different personalities, right. different skills, different weaknesses. So we had to learn that in the beginning. That first year was hell on our marriage. So I'm not going to sit here and make it like it wasn't. It was, him infringing on my role, me infringing on his role. Correct. But once we took the time and knew that this was what we were going to do, and for us to be successful, we had to work together in all facets. So once we identified what he excelled and what I excelled in, and it always seems like where the other person's weak, the other person picked it up.
Correct.
And once we learned those roles, it was smooth sailing. Like we've now done it for quite some time. So we know how each other works. But like I said, you just have to kind of go through the process. As long as you can stick in there and hang in there with each other and figure these things out, then you'll be all right.
Yeah, she was definitely the yin to my yang, and hopefully I was vice versa. But we a few days we went into work, we wasn't on the same page, but we kept that between us, and we didn't let our staff know. So even when we come home, and we have to give each other a little space, but it's understandable. We was always in the same room. It wasn't like, don't talk to me, don't look at me, and nothing like that. We've always been very understanding of each other's personality, and we made it work, and we're gonna make it work. It's same thing with marriage. Don't get me wrong. You get a break when you're not working together, but it's still the same thing. Regardless, we got to make it work.
But the key thing he said was that one of our main rules was we never let anybody see any contention between us. When we walked in that store, we were always ultimately professional, because how can we expect them to do their job if we are fighting and in discord with each other? So that was always really important for us. So even if I cussed him out in the parking lot, when I walked the door, hey babe, how you doing? Because you never want them to see that. That was, never happened. Never.
Right. I love that. I've been in a position where I've walked in a store and I've seen the two couples going at it and fighting in front of the customers. And so that does not look good. So I commend you and applaud you.
I wouldn't go back. So
right.
We had to get with a customer too. But
I'm sure. But make sure you guys are keeping,
we do nice nasty.
Keeping your stuff together and making sure that that's not visible for everybody to see. You guys can handle it. I love that. So you guys went from having four locations, over 80 employees. I know the dynamic of that was just crazy because you're dealing with a whole bunch of multiple personalities. Talk a little bit briefly about being a manager and being a leader over 80 plus employees.
So the hardest part for me, and I think Al definitely agrees, is managing people. That is the hardest part. So we're dealing with teenagers anywhere to some middle to young 20 somethings. So when I say that it was literally managing their issues and sometimes and problems, but that was something that, that came with the business. So giving them the same respect that I would want to receive and talking to them is how I'd want somebody to talk to me. And that was the great thing about being our own boss. I'll step up for a second. A great thing about being our own boss, because, we've had moments where we didn't have the greatest of bosses. And so we kind of took what we didn't like from them and applied it to what we would want somebody to do for us. So it had its challenges, but it was pretty amazing to actually work with them, because at the same time, love being with the youth. So hopefully, being a good example to them and being able to be caring, because you own the business. So you can, take time or, be able to offer incentives that you couldn't do if you maybe work for somebody else. So that it was a pretty great experience. I can't even complain.
So what's a word of encouragement or some advice that you would give to a new entrepreneur, someone who is just coming into wanting to not maybe just even owning a franchise, but just owning a business, period? What's some great advice that you can give to someone?
I would say don't give up and take it day by day and give yourself grace. You will have moments, especially at the beginning. So Al, we have to tell you a story how it was when we first opened. We were so successful. Like, we opened up, we were in the black when we opened up. But at the same time, it was new. We didn't know what we were doing. It was a lot. So we were literally leaving there at midnight because we were letting our staff go early. So we didn't know that they were supposed to stay and clean. We were allowing them to go home. They were teenagers. We wanted them to get their work done.
We had them working, like, say, for instance, they was working 6 to 10.
Yes.
And we closed at 10.
They were walking out by 10:05.
We was letting them go at 10.
And we were staying, cleaning up and doing everything we needed to do, preparing for the next day and getting there at 7 a.m. So 3 weeks in, we are exhausted. We are tired. We would have sold that store for a penny if somebody offered it. Correct. So from there, we call the franchisor and let them know, like, hey, we're drowning in a good way. It wasn't like we didn't have business, but we had a lot of business. We didn't really know what we were doing. Our staff really didn't know what they were doing. So it was more, we knew more than them. So we had to overwatch everything. It wasn't like we can send them to the front and, hey, go to work, and we can sit in the back and do what we need to do. We had to be up front. I had to be up front, or she had to be in the front, and I had to be in the back, or she had to be in the back. We both had to split up. So we were literally working.
So it's a lot of work. It's not just getting it and you're thinking you're about to hire some employees. And you're thinking about you're working too. You're grinding too. You're not on the beach in Cancun,
And I will say this, Aaron, real fast. You decide kind of what owner you want to be. Some owners are, not as involved, right? So they're not in the day-to-day grind of everything. That was not the experience that we wanted to have. In our mind, if we were in there and we are learning what we need to do, and obviously it's our business, so we're going to work 110. Yes. So at that point, then it lets us scale where we think they need to be. Because at the same time, I don't want to work for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. And so how can you tell me if you don't know? So that was very important for us to actually be in the store every day, because not only telling them what they need to do, but we actually were doing it as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And for those of you guys who are just tuning in, we are talking to Al and Simone, who is Jonesing for Success. They are the former owners of 4 Great American Cookie and Great American and
and Marble Slab.
Say it again.
Marble Slab Creameries.
I knew that.
Actually own 8 businesses in 4 locations.
Say it again.
It's a co-branded store.
Yes.
So it's eight businesses in 4 locations. So it's just 2 business per location.
Correct.
2 business. And I didn't even realize that. So 8 businesses in 4 locations. That's so Great American Cookie and Marble Slab. So for those of you guys who are just tuning in, we are talking about all things franchise, all things entrepreneurship. This is Black Business Month. August is Black Business Month. And we have been talking for the last almost 30 minutes with Al and Simone about how to get into a franchise, how to work together as a couple, and then, about entrepreneurship. Al and Simone, how can they follow you? I see on the bottom, they can go to your Instagram. You guys make sure you go to the Instagram, Jonesing for Success,
and
Facebook,
follow us.
Jonesing for Success. We also have a group called Jonesing for Success, and those for who are already franchise owners, or if you want to learn more about franchising. Again, thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. What would you like to leave our viewers? One last thing that you would like to leave our viewers who are just interested in just learning more about franchises and entrepreneurship?
So I would say I'm gonna go just in general entrepreneurship, or growing something bigger than you ever can imagine. It's not gonna happen overnight. So you have to give yourself time. You got to understand that these super huge Fortune 500 companies wasn't built, in a month or a year. And also, you just got to make sure that you take care of your finances. So, like when the pandemic hit, it was tough for everybody out here. But fortunately for us, we made sure we scraped our pennies together in the beginning, and we wasn't living a lavish lifestyle. We were comfortable, but we were able to survive. So you never know what's going to happen. So you always want to be prepared.
And before we leave, go ahead.
I was going to say that, and ride the wave.
Ride the wave.
It will go up and down. Just try to stay level with it. Just in all circumstances, keep your composure. That's whether you're dealing with your staff, whether you're dealing with customers, products, or anything that breaks down. Just keep your composure. At the end of the day, it's gonna work out, and most of the problems won't even be there a year from now. So just try to be level-headed and calm. You don't want to have a heart attack now doing any of this. So you'll be fine. That's my biggest thing, that it will be okay.
It gets
stressful.
Shall pass. It gets stressful, but you survive.
You survive.
And before we leave, please tell our viewers what's next for Alan Simone. What's next for Jonesing for Success?
So we'll be announcing it very soon, but we bought some property and we're getting ready to build a duplex on it, and that's going to be a journey in itself. So
we are going into our third round of starting a new business venture, meaning some new stage in our life in terms of what we're doing for employment. We're excited. We're excited.
We're very excited.
Yay, and I can't wait to come back.
We're going to document the process.
Yes.
So please continue to follow us. You'll see it.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you, Veronica, our travel agent extraordinaire. Thank you for following. And for those of you guys who are just tuning in, please go follow Alan Simone on Jonesing for Success on Instagram and on Facebook. And we also have a Facebook group that we would like for you to be a part if you're interested in learning more about franchises, and also, or if you are a franchise owner yourself, or if you're an entrepreneur, if you own a business, please go follow them. Again, they have a podcast that's going to be coming out real soon. So we want to make sure that you guys follow them so you guys can pay attention, because the podcast is going to be so much knowledge, so much information about how to own a franchise. What do you need from start to finish? Employees, all of that. You guys heard they were working in there right along with their employees. They were not on the beach. They were not doing that. All of that. They were grinding, and it was stressful.
Although we did take breaks and go to the beach, though. We did take breaks and go to the beach.
Absolutely.
We're right back.
One of the other things that
we did do that now.
Right. I got that. But one of the things that I heard that I love is a mentor. Get a mentor. Get a mentor who has done it, who is doing it, and who can help you along the way. Because when they were drowning, they were able to call their mentor and say, hey, what do I do? And their mentor knew exactly what to tell them and how to get them back on track. And so I love that. So if you guys do not have a mentor, reach out, find a mentor that is in your industry, that has done it, that is doing it, and that is very successful at it. And so we definitely encourage you, again, to stay involved. Follow us. Make sure you follow Your Life Media and Marketing. Shout out to James Jacob, who is our producer extraordinaire and tech extraordinaire. Go follow Your Life Media and Marketing. But again, thank you, Alan Simone. Again, happy Black Business Month for all of you guys who have your own businesses, who own your own franchises, who own your own companies. Happy Black Business Month. We pray blessings, many blessings over your business. And we thank you for joining us tonight.